the ultimate act of rebellion as a nation now, it is on the monetary side of things. And one of the things I thought was interesting is that in the case of both El Salvador accepting Bitcoin as a legal tender, and there are very valid concerns and criticisms of some of the specifics of that proposal, neither here nor there, but also with the Central African Republic's move to liberalize their policies and to accept Bitcoin as a legal tender. Both of them were driven not by some sort of closet Hayekian that had become taken over the central bank. Both of them were political moves made by the head of state. In the case of the Central African Republic, I think he had an assistant that was very big on this, but still in both cases. And so what you had was that it's politicians elected kind of using that expert class a little bit as a foil, not necessarily internally, but broadly. And kind of the other side of that was the IMF engaging in with Argentina, providing some sort of financial aid there for some of their issues. It seems like their once a decade financial crisis that Argentina usually has is. And the IMF is explicitly requiring in their agreements there for hostile crackdowns on Bitcoin, but just this dynamic where it's elected officials with kind of their own sort of incentive structures. They're both better and for worse, right? The same, a similar incentive structure that incentivizes politicians to not get serious in the U.S. Over cutting spending and anything like that might be unpopular and get the masses mad at them. Here, they're able to kind of use the foil of these Western leaders, ripping them off, and all the good, accurate populist rhetoric there. I think that this is a dynamic where, again, seeing the different structures of these institutions at play within this sort of broader environment of economic instability, that's one of those things where it's going to be interesting to see. How many, and obviously we've seen the gold aspect play out a little bit with Russia and some of that aspect as well. Iran and North Korea in the past. If America is targeting you, gold tends to be one of your moves. But again, it's just going to be interesting to see, what are the other frontiers here? Because as we were talking about and mocking the delusional sense of importance that Europe has for itself and that American pundits can sometimes give to the continent as well. I think there's a lot more interesting stuff going on in South America and some of these developing nations that might end up being on kind of that frontier there, not wanting to follow sort of that bureaucratic, failing model of the ECB EU style of things.